Hello, I'm Gaia Orion. I'm an artist and a creativity and art career coach. And today I'm going to talk to you about how to handle marketplace indifference and silence. That is not an easy subject for us artists. And I feel like I'm in a good place to talk to you about that from my own experience. If you go to galleries and museums, you won't see a lot of paintings that are talking about spirituality, that have sacred geometry, lots of colors. And I just haven't found my peers in the art world. And it was really hard for me when I started. I'd go to galleries and I would just feel like I was a sort of alien when they looked at my portfolio. And I think part of it, I'll explain that a little bit more later, but yes, it is that I didn't have the kind of art that I'm doing represented in a gallery, but also I've noticed after over 20 years of career that it was also my own confidence and my understanding of what I was doing and how it was relating to the world. So we'll be talking about that. I'm going to have 3 little parts in the video. So the first part will be, I'll be talking about the reasons, like why the market is sometimes silent and feel indifferent to our art. The second part, I'm going to talk about what to do after you have a bad experience, when you feel like rejected or you've done something and no one is paying attention and you just want to go and cry somewhere. There are things that you can do so that you just don't give up. And then the third part, I'm going to tell you what to do with your career in a general, action taking and your vision on the long term and everything that you can implement so that you face less and less silence and indifference, and actually you grow your market and you find your place, and this doesn't become a problem anymore. It's mostly going to be a problem of when you're just starting your art career. So why do we meet silence and indifference? My experience, it's never about the people that don't like her art. It's never about that. I want to start with a little story. So I have 2 of my dearest favorite artists. So over all those years of career, I've met so many artists that are doing the most obscure kind of art. You would never even imagine that they could possibly even making a living from this. And they have. And so I'll tell you 2 examples. This friend of mine, her name is Maya Heisler. She's one of my heroes. Before I even started my art, she was supporting her family of 4 children with her art. And she's a nature lover. She just spends her life in the forest. And she collects little acorns and mosses and sticks and just little things that she makes out of nature. And she makes those beautiful scenes. So here is one that I bought from her. She made a little scene of my 3 children because they're gone from the house. So there was a way to just fill my emptiness by asking Maya to create something for me. So I'm showing you that, you won't see her art in art galleries. It's not the kind of art that you think, someone maybe can make a living from this. You would think she's just a little crafter on the side. Well, no, she's making a great living from her art. And I have another friend, it's a little bit of the same. Her name is Christine Aiken. She collects those specific fossilized pebbles and she makes those little scenes. So it's a little bit like Maya. You can see here, she made one of me painting. And same thing, her and her husband, I've met her at the shows. She would do all the big shows like One of a Kind in Toronto and all the outdoor shows. She also has her art sold at the museum art store, the Royal Ontario Museum of Toronto, which is extremely prestigious. So that's another example that, something that you think like it's not the classical kind of art that you would want to see. Well, those 2 people, those 2 dear person of mine that are artists are making a living from it. And I mean, those are 2 examples, but I have so many examples of artists that I know that are making a great living. They're living in Toronto. They have, they're paying a big mortgage and they have kids in university. And so I'm a big advocate of saying like, yeah, of course you can do it. Of course you can find your market, your place in the world and not constantly meet the silence and the marketplace indifference. So a few things that reason why you may meet silence, and most likely you will at the beginning, because you don't really know what to do, where to go, where is your crowd, who is your crowd. So one of the things often is just a wrong venue. Like you might be selling at a small Christmas show at your local church, and maybe, you know, the people from your local church, maybe the people that you love, might not be the people that are interested in what you're doing. So the wrong venue. I had an experience where I traveled all across America to do this big show, and I thought for sure those people would be my crowd, and they were not. There was this big event, there were 600 people, I was one of the speakers there, and I just broke even. And you know, it took me weeks to recuperate from that experience, and I'll explain you more about what to do when you feel really sad and devastated because of this silence and non-interest that you've met. But it happens to all of us, even when you're deep and, you know, you've done this for a long, long time, it still happens. So wrong venue. You just chose a wrong venue. The people that love your art are not there. Sometimes you think there's going to be, but that's just simply not. Another reason is wrong presentation. So, you know, your stuff might be amazing, but if you don't know how to present yourself, if you don't know how to explain your work, if you don't know how to show it in a way that makes it beautiful and appealing and helps people see like how they can bring this little object that you've created of this painting onto the wall at home, then you know, you're making it difficult for them to even understand what you're doing and how they can bring it home. So presentation is super important, and I will talk a little bit more about that. And then sometimes you have great ideas, but maybe you don't put it together. Maybe you've chosen a medium that is difficult to sell. Maybe you've chosen a medium that is difficult for people to display in their home. Maybe you're trying to sell your art as a product on certain items that are actually not the kind of item that the people that would love your art would buy. So you've got to be looking at that. If people are not buying your art and it feels really sad, it's not about your art. Your art is great. We have like close to 8 billion on the planet. I cannot believe 1 second that there won't be a lot of people that would love your art. So you just have to work at finding who are those people. Let's talk about what to do if you have a bad experience. So there is something about us human that make us for some reason remember bad experience more than good experiences. I have this example. I was listening to the radio, and there was, of course, mostly negative news, and there was this like really positive story about this person that brought music into this underprivileged area of Toronto. And I went home and I wanted to tell my husband the story, and it was so weird because the only thing I could remember was like 2 of the story that were just really dramatic and horrible, the kind of thing that you really usually hear on the news. So I just realized at that moment, like, that's incredible. My brain, I know I really wanted to tell that story to my husband, and I just could not find it. And I realized, oh my gosh, that's what we do. It's like biologically, we used to live in the forest, and if we ate something bad or we met an animal that is dangerous, then, you know, our biology needs to remember that really strongly. So now we artists, and we just kind of like, our system is using the system, but it's not that useful. So just remember, we tend to remember bad experience more than good experiences. So there's something we can do about that, and I will tell you that at my third point. Sometimes when we have a bad experience, we just need to take time. Take time to grieve, take time to cry, take time to just, you know, get it out of our system. And maybe we need to put our art away for a week or a month. And it's okay, it's not the end of the world. I mean, I'm sure there is nothing else that you would like to do in the world. So don't give up after a bad experience. Just allow your system to just get out the whole like sad experience out of yourself, out of your system, And you know, once you've cried and you've just like lamented yourself, and maybe you went on a holiday or watch Netflix for a week or see some friend and do something else, then just get back at work, you know, because work is what's going to make your success happen. One of the things that you can do is create, I call that the bragging board. So I take it when I go to shows. I've created this whole sort of, actually it's with laminated photos and titles, and I show like all the amazing things I've done with my career. So when I'm at a show, it allows people that instead of reading like a resume or a biography, they don't have time for that, so they can see the pictures of me in Paris and the picture of me in New York and what this magazine cover, and it's all like at a glance. And so you could do the same too. Like I keep files with positive comments from influential people or from friends or from clients. I keep a file with all my awards, and so that when I feel down, I can go back to that. You know, you could just like pin some stuff on your wall, so when you feel like you had a bad experience and you think like, you know, you should give up, then go back to what I call your bragging board and your notes of positive comments on how you're helping people to feel better in the world with your art. Remember yourself that it's not all negative, which is sometimes what your brain will just remember because of what I explained earlier. Now, there is one more thing too, is that you have to understand after an experience that this is just about mathematics. Like I said, there is like so many people in the world, and there are people that are going to love your work. So you just have to find them. And if you're prospecting galleries and it's really difficult, you have to understand really good gallery will have about 1,000 artists applying a year. And they have maybe room for taking 1 to 3 artists a year. So if you have a lot of galleries that are not accepting your work, it doesn't mean that your work is not good. It's just like statistic. You know, your chance of getting in a gallery, in certain kind of gallery, is really slim. So just remember that the more you try and the more you target the kind of gallery that may like your work instead of applying to every gallery, then there is different things that you can do to augment your chances. But just know that you're also playing with numbers here. 2 more points. I think there is a part of us we would like that everybody would love us. Think about it. When you go and see an art show, when you go into a museum, when you see art, there's no way that you like every art that you see. There is a lot of art I go in front and I just don't even understand it. It does literally nothing to my being. So understand that it's normal that not everybody is going to love what you're doing. So again, we're back kind of like at the number. It's just natural that not everybody will like what you do. You know how it hurts when you have your favorite movie and someone go like, ooh, this movie was awful, and it hurts personally. Well, okay, you know what? It's time to grow up. It's okay if your best friend doesn't like your favorite movie. So it's the same with your art. It's okay. So here we go with our third part of this video. What are the concrete things that you can do to not meet silence and indifference in the marketplace? First of all, you need to learn how to present yourself. You need to know who you are as an artist. You need to have a really clear understanding of the kind of art that you do. What is a message? What is it that really is inside of you? And how does this meet the market, society as it is today? The more eloquent, the more strong you feel in who you are, what's your place in the world, and your capacity to express that and share it with others, that will greatly, greatly reduce your chance of putting yourself in that situation of not being understood or received by others. Like I told you at the beginning, for me it made a big difference. It took me quite a few years. Once I identified who are my peers, who are the people who I'm talking to, I realized that it was the change leaders, the people that are working on themselves personally, that are constantly, taking transformational courses and doing whatever they can, working every day to make their life better, in the way that they choose a livelihood, in the way that they communicate with their children, in the way that they eat, in the way that they work. Once I identified that, then it wasn't hard for me to find where are the people that would love my art. So same with you, the more you know yourself, the more you'll be able to understand who are the people that would love you also and love your art. The next thing is that you absolutely need a professional presentation. And there is a way to do this. You don't have to spend a ton of money, but you need a good website. If you show your art somewhere, you need to have a proper canopy and installation. You really need to put effort in how you present yourself so that it looks really, really good, really, really impressive. And it makes people want to bring your art into their space. A lot of artists don't understand that, and they just don't put the effort, and it makes a huge difference. The first impression when you meet someone, how they dressed, and maybe it sounds like, oh, you wish it wasn't like that, but it is like that. People will judge you, the way you dress, the way you look, the way you present your art, the photos that you're taking, how professional everything, every little detail is. You have to put a lot of attention on that. The next thing, especially for artists, people look up at your credentials. So do some work to build up your credential. Try to get your art into the media. Try to get articles written on you. Try to get awards. Try to be part of some associations. Try to be active, proactive. Create an organization or lead an organization. Put yourself in a place where you're in a place of leadership, where you show that you're really 100% into what you're doing. Maybe it's some charitable work. Maybe it's in your art community. Maybe it's in whatever, really makes you happy and you're interested in. Be out there. Show that you work with various people, that you partner with companies. Put yourself out there, and people will look at that. They will look at your resume, they will look at your biography, and you need to put stuff there that looks like, wow, look at what this person is doing. And the little thing is not that hard. After a few years, you can gather enough credential to have everything, all the clout that people will look when they look at, oh, who is this artist? Oh, they do this. Okay. A really simple exercise that can help you to do all of that is to look at your heroes. That means take a few, maybe one, maybe 2 or 3 artists that you really look up to, that have achieved a certain success that you would love to have, and then just look at what they're doing. Look at their website, look at the photos they took, look at where they've been published, look at which website do they work with, look at where they do workshops. Look at how they sell their work. Look at which people they're affiliated with on social media. Just, follow closely what they're doing and try to see how you can do something similar that will still be you, authentically who you are. They don't have to be, their career, but you can learn so much by looking at what other people do. I hope this video helps you if you've been feeling down about some bad experiences, or if you feel like maybe no one cares about your art. It's just so not true. The idea is for you to have tools and have a strong foundation, develop the skills to know that you can have a sustainable art career. I know you can make a living from your art. You just need to learn the skills and not get down on yourself, and know that yes, it is possible. So many other people do it. I've been making art and selling my creative work for over 20 years. If you have any questions, please, I would love to hear from you. Contact me for individual coaching, just to meet, and also check out on my website all the art career courses that I have. I look forward to meeting you. Thank you.